This is INCRadio, DCEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ or Iglesianicristo.
Welcome to INCRadio South Central States Satellite Studio. Joining you here from Fort Worth, Texas. It is a chilly morning. Today, we are going to talk about our top 5 Southern foods. And so I'll be representing Southerners because I consider myself a Southerner. I also have a guest with me, but she's more of a West Coasterner. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, it's Arnie. I'm coming to you live from Seattle, Washington today. So it's really early in the morning. And yes, I am a West Coast person, but I still do enjoy Southern food. I think it's Southern food. So it's my version of Southern food, I guess.
Yeah, we're not going to split hairs here. Okay. Here in the South, we take things kind of chill. So nobody try to correct me and be like, actually, sir, that's not true Southern food. Okay. If it's typical Southern food fare, then yeah, that's what's going to make our list. We're going to give our top 5s. And I'm already seeing in the chat joining us here today, we have a bunch of people. They really like fried chicken. And someone mentioned, my friend Kerwin, he mentioned jail food. I don't know what that is, but we'll find that out here today. So we'll go ahead and get started, though. So we'll start from the bottom and we'll work our way to the top. So for me, at number 5, I would have to say cornbread. Okay. I love cornbread. I think it's great. There's different types. So I've tried out different recipes that people make. They would make sweet cornbread. They would make savory cornbread. Also drop in the chat if you're also a fan of cornbread, or if you don't like cornbread, it's all fine. You know, we don't all have to agree here. Jalapeno cornbread, and we can go on and on and on. That's my number 5. What about you, Arnie? Do you like cornbread at all?
I'm not really a fan of cornbread only because to me, it's kind of dry. I like the bread that's kind of soft and moist more, but I do like the flavor. I'm just not a fan of the dryness of the cornbread. But do we have a question for the day? Did we type that into the chat this morning?
Oh, yeah. Well, just drop your top 5 Southern foods. Yeah. Just go ahead and drop those in the chat.
Okay, so that's my take on cornbread. I think mine for my bottom 5 on that list is barbecue. I think barbecue's from the South, right? Because I have a lot in Texas, and I'm assuming Texas is part of the South. So I think my number 5 is barbecue.
Yeah, it can count. I mean, there's different types. Like some people, they don't count Texas as part of the South, but I think, we could say, I mean, it's similar enough, like in culture, having come from Florida to here. We have Texas barbecue. You have Memphis barbecue. Memphis is definitely part of the South. You have South Carolina barbecue. So it just depends. If you're talking about like Kansas City barbecue, then you're probably talking about outside of the South. Or West Coast barbecue.
That's what I was going to ask. If Kansas City, because Kansas City does have good barbecue too, but I didn't know if that was part of the South.
And Jennifer Trinidad is asking, do boiled peanuts count as Southern food? I think they do, because every gas station here in the South, they have boiled peanuts. I don't know if that's true. Let us know if it's anywhere else in the country. Have you noticed it anywhere else, Arnie? Boiled peanuts?
Yeah, in the Philippines, they sell it all over the streets. That's something you could snack on. If you're stuck in traffic, they have all these people walking around the street selling boiled peanuts. That's the first thing I thought of when she said that.
I'm not sure if peanuts grow in the Philippines, though. I know for sure, absolutely sure, peanuts grow here in the South. So it might have been a Southern food that made it to the Philippines. Get that crossover, but
possibly. But it's good stuff. It's good stuff.
All right, so we started out with our 5s. cornbread, and barbecue. We're going to move up to 4. All right, this one. Oh, this one was difficult for me to put at number 4 because it just gets better and better as I go up. But biscuits and gravy. Biscuits and gravy. Absolutely love it. I love biscuits on their own. Southern biscuits. I think some people don't like it because it might be kind of dry. You definitely need to have a glass of water nearby if you're going to have a Southern style biscuit. But have you ever had biscuits and gravy, Arnie?
I have had biscuits and gravy. I mean, it's okay. It's not one of my favorites, but I think because their gravy is plain white, I'm used to like the brown gravy, and I'm used to the one that's a little bit, I think, like on the saltier side. For me, the gravy doesn't have as much flavor as, other places, but I've had biscuits and gravy. It's all right.
Now, did your gravy had the bits of sausage in it? Because that's like the real way to have biscuits and gravy.
Then no, it did not, and that's probably why I didn't like it. Because if it had bits of sausage, I totally would love it.
Yeah, that definitely makes the difference. What about you? What's your number 4?
I think my number 4 is the creamed corn. The way they make it, where it's not just plain corn, but I don't know if they mix it in cream and spices and stuff. It's just so good. I just had it at one of the I don't know if you've been to Babe's restaurant there in Texas. They had the creamed corns were the first place I tasted it, and it's so good.
It is really good, but I do find it divisive. Like some people really hate creamed corn. So it's like, either you like it really plain, straight off the cob, or you like it, in the creamed form, which is a little bit sweetened, right? I got
It
that right?
is, but it's not like completely sweet. And I think I like that one because I love corn on the cob, but I hate eating it from the cob, or I hate trying to shred it off the cob. So at least with the cream corn, it's already ready, and all you gotta do is eat it.
All right, we're actually going to go now, switch gears. We're going to go to our thinking cap question. Okay, so remember, every month we're going to restart the scores. We do have a winner, by the way, which we will reveal at the end. But our first question is, the scuppernong is considered what species of fruit? And when you answer, just put down the letter. You don't have to put down the word or anything. We just need the letter. And remember, your first answer is the one that counts because that's how the data is collected. It just goes in order. So, is it A, is it a citrus? B, a type of grape? C, a type of apple? Or D, a legume? Okay. So go ahead and drop your answers in the chat. While you do that, while you ponder that, I will go and see what they have been placing in our live chat. So hush puppies. I saw that mentioned by Kerwin down there in New Orleans. Do you like hush puppies?
I like some hush puppies. I think depending on who makes them, it's. I didn't know that was southern too. I thought that was just a seafood thing, but I've had hush puppies. They're okay, and I think it comes in the same realm as cornbread, where it's not really moist, kind of a thing. So it's okay.
Well,
That's a hard question.
yeah, my friend Kerwin, he's from Louisiana, so I'm guessing they might have like a Cajun version of it. And Cajun food, man, that just really makes Southern food like the best. And let's see, what else do we have here? Let's see, Brother Romelu, one of our ministers here, he says thanks for the breakfast ideas. Let's see, Jay Manahan, fried chicken, hands down. So we'll have to see
No,
if yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
gonna have to agree with them because I've had fried chicken in the West Coast, and then I had fried chicken down here in Texas. And I'm telling you, the fried chicken here is different. I don't know what makes it different. I don't know if it's the flavor. I don't know if it's the way they prepare it, but fried chicken down here is so much better than what I would get in California.
All right, now Don Jez says fried catfish. What are your thoughts on catfish?
So when I first went to Louisiana, I said, okay, I have to do the whole fried catfish thing because it's what they were known for. And then I tried it. I did not like it because it tasted like dirt. Because it was, hey, it's a bottom feeder. And so after that, I never wanted to have catfish. But then when I came to Texas, someone said, you know what, just have the catfish here because it's different. And I tried it, and it's not bad because the one here in Texas doesn't taste like dirt.
Yeah, if you fish it out of a dirty lake, they say you need to like drop it in your bathtub and let it like filter in some clean water through it to get the dirt out of it. Uh, One time I went fishing and I caught a massive catfish. This thing was big. Okay. I know people like to exaggerate, how big the fish they catch, but yeah, it was, I mean, just think like massive. And I thought like, okay, I'm done for the day. This thing is huge. So catfish that big, when you clean it, you're left with about that much meat. And then after you fry it, you're left with like this much meat. I was like, no wonder they have catfish fries and they do a bunch of fillets because the massive catfish shrinks by the time you're done frying it. But yeah, so
I did not know that.
yeah, well, I found out the hard way. So you're gonna enjoy some catfish that you're gonna catch from a lake, and I caught it at a reservoir, so the water was clean, so I didn't notice like any taste, but yeah, people describe it like tasting like dirt, and I'm like, I've never had fish that tasted like dirt, so I don't know where you've been eating your catfish.
It was in a restaurant. It's not like I went out and caught my own fish. It was at a restaurant, and I'm like, never again. That's why I was hesitant when I came to Texas to try it, but all my friends were saying it's actually pretty good. So I said, okay, let me just try it and see. And so now I don't mind it as long as it doesn't taste like dirt.
We have Paulo Velasco, who is also from Louisiana. He said anything that is fried. When you go down to Louisiana, yeah, they love their deep frying down there. You might even think like, are they descendants of like Scottish people? Because that's another thing about Scottish food is everything is deep fried in Scotland.
And you know what? That is so true because that's my number three is fried okra. When
Fried
I
okra,
first
I agree with you. Yeah.
when I first got here and I tried fried okra, and it's so delicious. And I know people just have it plain, but you know me, I'm from the West Coast, so I got to dip it in ranch. It is so good dipped in ranch.
You do ranch. I just do ketchup. Yeah. For my fried okra. Do you like fried green tomatoes?
I've never tried fried green tomatoes. I've always wanted to try because I've heard about it. And was it a book before or a movie or something? But I've heard about
Yeah.
fried green tomatoes. But that is something I do want to try. I haven't tried it yet, but my fried okra is my number three. So
I tried fried green tomatoes and I was like, this tastes like a green tomato that was fried. People were kind of like pumping it up. Like I thought it would be something kind of amazing. And it was like, it tastes like a tomato that's not ripe. And then someone deep fried it. Uh, you would think like maybe it would change the dynamics when you deep fry. It's like, no, it tastes like an unripe tomato. So it did not work out for me at all.
well, I do like tomatoes, so I might actually like it. So we'll see.
All right.
What's your number three?
My number three is the key lime pie. So more of a Florida staple. And key limes are a type of lime in that grows, I guess, on the Florida Keys or whatever. It's a type of lime. It's a little bit different from your traditional lime. They're smaller, they're rounder, and they do have a I think like minty kind of taste. I mean, it don't taste like mint, but it's got that quality, that effervescent quality, right? Like it's a little Vixy. Best way I could describe it. But do you like key lime pie?
I never used to try it because I just thought, who puts lime in a pie? But that was my mom's favorite, and she would get it all the time. And so one time she said, just try it. And I'm like, okay. And I tried it. It's actually pretty good. And I think also depending on where you get it from makes a difference. But the one that I had was on a cruise. And so it was just so delicious. And I'm like, hey, not too bad. But it's not my go to dessert, but it was still pretty good.
Yeah, it's basically lemon meringue pie, except instead of lemon, it's lime, and it's a type of cheesecake, basically. But I noticed here in the chat, I have to ask you. So Melanie says, our son, because Melanie's my wife, by the way. Shout out to her. My son can eat 3 pounds of crawfish in one sitting. Arnie, what are your thoughts on the crawdaddy?
So I've never had crawdads only because they're so small and to have to peel it out and only get a small reward. No, I'm more into crab legs because at least when you break off a crab leg, at least there's a lot of meat. With a crawdad, there's not a lot of meat.
They might not allow you to come to Louisiana.
No, I do want to try it. I really do. I want to try it because everyone says it's good. And,
Yeah.
I've caught some because in the Sacramento River, they used to have them swimming in there and we would catch it, but we wouldn't cook it or anything. We would just like put it down people's clothes as a prank, but not really eat it. And so I do want to try. I do want to try crawfish. I mean, crawdad. I just don't want the whole having to peel. Like with shrimp, at least it's okay. You still get a lot of meat, and the peeling is not too hard. But
Yeah.
that one just seems like it's difficult to peel.
And for those of you who aren't familiar, the crawfish is like a miniature lobster, except like you get it from like creeks and freshwater sources and not the ocean.
Okay, I'm not saying it's a miniature lobster. I'm saying it's a micro mini lobster.
Let's see. We also have Don saying for dessert, bread pudding, pecan pie. Yes, absolutely. Pecan pie. He also mentioned beignets, which is a New Orleans thing.
Okay,
And
he just stole that was my number one, but since we're talking about it now, yes, I do love beignets, especially the ones from New Orleans. Oh, they are so good with powdered sugar. Oh, the best.
I cannot agree. How is that your number one? It's like a powdered donut that's just a different shape.
Yes, but it's from the South. That's a difference. Well, okay,
Like,
that was tied.
sprinkle any magic on it here.
That was I actually had two number ones because I didn't really consider that as a food since it's more of a dessert. So that was tied with my number one food. So
All right, so I guess we spoiled that. But we're on to our number two. So my number two was fried okra. So I agreed with you there. Fried okra. What was your
mine is
number two?
mine is gumbo, spicy gumbo. I love gumbo. Especially trying it there in New Orleans and having it with the sausage and the chicken and the okra. I enjoy the gumbo soup.
Oh man, I'm gonna upset some people because gumbo didn't even make my list. I
That
mean,
is like that is known for the South. How's that not going to make your list?
it's good, but for me, it's just not great. I mean, the flavors just don't work for me exactly. And I'm also allergic to shrimp. Like if I do gumbo, it has to be like chicken gumbo or something, which isn't, the best.
No, it's the see, and I think that's what it is. I think it's the flavor of the shrimp that makes it good. Because I do love the shrimp gumbo.
Let's see. Jennifer Chernadad says she likes low country boils. I don't know what that is. I hope that is food and not like something growing on your skin.
Okay,
Low
well,
country boils.
since she mentioned it, that is my number one, which is a shrimp boil. And so what it is, it's just a mixture of so mine I usually do shrimp, corn, potatoes, and then sausage, and then you boil it all together, and that's how you cook it. You could also cook it in the oven. You put it, they do the shrimp packs, is what they call them, where they wrap it in foil, and then they cook it that way. But that is my number one, which is a shrimp boil.
Oh wow. I haven't had a shrimp boil, and I'd imagine if I ate a shrimp boil, because everything's all boiled together, that shrimp would probably give me a severe allergic reaction. But up north, they do clam boils, which is very similar. They have these giant pots, and they'll steam all the food all together, like you said, the corn, the meat, and everything, potatoes, all of it, in one. And now that is also really good. But I would imagine, the southern version or the Cajun version would be a lot more flavorful.
Yes, and that's what makes the difference. So they do put a lot of butter, and then they do a sauce, which is like bay. It's like the bay seasoning with garlic, and so it's if you make it spicy, it can be very spicy, which is really good. I don't like mine too spicy because then I can't eat it. But it's got the Cajun flavor, but just different.
All right, Paulo Velasco dropped a few more. Po' boy. Have you ever had a po' boy sandwich?
I have, and those are pretty good too. I've actually had that. Wait, but you never said what your number one was.
We're getting there. We're getting there. I'm doing the. We got some time. We're no rush. We're here in the South, right? We don't have to rush anything. Although we're only on 30 minutes, we do kind of have to rush. He mentioned jambalaya. What are your thoughts on jambalaya? It's a rice dish, I believe.
Yes, I did have jambalaya. I like jambalaya, but I think it just depends on who makes it because I've had some where it wasn't that good. It didn't have as much flavor, but then there were places where it was really, really good. So I think it just depends on where it comes from.
Have you had shrimp and grits? He mentioned. I have not had shrimp and grits. Have you?
I've had shrimp. I've never had grits. Everyone keeps telling me to try grits, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing grits. I don't even know what
Yeah,
it is.
grits is just it's like corn. It's like oatmeal, except if you replace oats with corn, kind of. So
Maybe when we make our way down to Biloxi and in New Orleans, we'll try
we
grits.
got to. We absolutely have to. We need to go down there. Ka'alair mentioned chicharron. Now, if you're in Louisiana, you got to try what's called cracklins. They are amazing. So most people are already familiar with pork rinds, but the way they do it, they got like the big chunks of meat that are deep fried with the pork skin. Absolutely amazing. You buy it by the pound. So if you're traveling through Louisiana, you can buy like half a pound, and that'd be the only thing you can eat that day because it is
I would
so
do that,
filling.
but you gotta have vinegar. Anytime you have chicharron, you gotta have vinegar. But
Yeah.
before we continue, you need to do question number 2, or else we might run out of time.
All right. Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up. Question number 2, and this is actually related to a lot of people's favorites. Southern fried chicken traces its roots as a combination of two different cultural cuisines, West African and what other cultural cuisine? Is it E, German, F, Caribbean, G, Chinese, or H, Scottish? And I kind of dropped a hint earlier on to the show because this one might be difficult. But if you were listening early, I did mention a culture earlier, and this would help you answer this. So go ahead and drop your letter into the chat. And while they're dropping in the letters, I'm going to go ahead and check out more of the foods that people drop. All right, mac and cheese. For me, when it comes to mac and cheese, it's got to be that cheap box stuff because that's what I grew up on. Anytime I get authentic baked macaroni and cheese, I don't like it. I don't like the flavor. I like the fake stuff. What about you?
See, I'm opposite. I used to have the fake mac and cheese when I was, a poor college student. But then when I grew up, I actually enjoyed the real mac and cheese, the ones made with different cheeses and fresh cheese and milk. So I don't know about the box stuff anymore.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm completely ruined by the box stuff. I need my fake sawdust cheese, not even real cheese, not even real orange. But I need to say
Exactly.
my number one. So my number one is Texas barbecue, specifically Texas barbecue. So that made my number. I think that was your number 5. So we're kind of
Yeah.
polar opposites on that.
Because I didn't know if Texas was really considered South. That's why, so that kind of just threw that in. But when you're talking about Texas barbecue, like what kind of barbecue are you talking about?
Right. And actually, what about country fried steak? Do you like country fried steak? We have Charisse from Florida who dropped that in our chat.
I don't think I've ever tasted country fried steak. That's the one that it's meat that's dipped in batter, right?
Yeah, I think they take a steak and they pulverize it and then they deep fry it in batter and they put gravy on it.
Yeah, that I really haven't done much of because I'm more of a seafood person than I am meat, and so I try more. I think more along the line of seafood. But
Yeah.
before we go, are you going to tell us who won last year? I
Yeah,
mean, last month?
let's go ahead and review that. So our final leaderboard for November, Renz Diaz.
Oh, he
Congratulations, you
kept the
have
lead.
won. Yep, he kept his lead. They couldn't take it from him in the last day. Um, not too far behind was Paulo Velasco and also brother Romy Lou. So yep, we restarted the scores. So hopefully you got both of the questions correct today.
Those were
So that
hard questions today.
they were hard. Yeah, they were. So they were challenging. The first one really reveals who is actually a Southerner, in my opinion. So I'm gonna go ahead and close up the chat. So closing that up so we can reveal the answers actually. So closing the trivia. Here we go. I'll type that in so I know where to go. All right, so let's go back. The Scuppernong. You ever heard of the Scuppernong?
No, I've never heard of that.
What do you think it is?
Um, if anything, I'm gonna pick grape only because I like grape out of those four.
It is a grape. So the Scuppernong is like a really thick skinned grape that grows here in the South. Really, really good. For some reason, they don't sell it in the stores in the South. I think if you go to like a specialty store, you might find it. But don't eat the skin. You bite into it and you kind of squeeze the inside of the grape and you eat that. It is seeded though, but it is really good. And then the second one, okay, I had mentioned that in Louisiana they like to deep fry everything, like people from Scotland, because the Scottish, that is their thing. They batter and deep fry everything. So a combination of those two cultural cuisines, West African and Scottish. So probably, you know, the art of deep frying, the Scottish got it right when they came here to the South, and then the spices from West Africa to make it even better. Because I imagine the fried chicken in Scotland probably isn't that good.
That is
But
pretty cool.
all right, so
I
that
didn't know that.
brings us to the end of today's show. So, any shout outs you'd like to give?
I just want to give a shout out to my sisters who is here with me in Seattle and actually treated me yesterday to a very nice Italian restaurant for my birthday, which was the coolest thing. So thanks to them.
And I'd like to shout out our friends there in Louisiana. I do think Louisiana has the best food in the South, and hopefully we get to visit you soon. But yeah, shout out to you guys there.
I say
And
let's go in January because January is not hurricane season.
I mean, it's not hurricane season now. It's December. It ends in November, technically. But can you go ahead and give our final shout outs?
Yes. And so we always want to say thank you to Brother Wally Tarai. He is our INC radio station manager. Of course, our SEPC president and CFO coordinator, Brother Angelo Arano Manalo. And last but not least, our executive minister, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo. Thank you all for joining. Thank you for chatting.
And
I'll
everyone's
join you
greeting you
next
happy
week.
birthday.
Why, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Happy
I'm still
birthday.
29. I
All
said
right.
I'm gonna stay 29 until I get married. So until I'm married, I'm 29.
All right. Join us next week on INC Radio South Central States, unless Arnie gets married between now and then.
Yeah.
Same
No.
time. And if you'd like to, you can also stick around to the programming of INC Radio. Check out New Jersey. They're coming up next.
No, is it New Jersey? No, Washington D.C. is next.
Oh, DC. DC is next. Yeah, that's
Washington
right.
D.C.
Dang.
is next. Yeah.
My bad.
And I'll see you from Bangkok next week.
That's right.
This is INC Radio, DCEM 954, the voice of truth, the official radio station of the Church of Christ or Iglesia ni Cristo.